Hello and welcome. I am Tootight Lautrec, the Master Mistress of Glitterature Alley, and here we are once again at the bottom of the down staircase in the permanently sequestered remainder section of an unnamed local library, which may or may not have a couple of layabout lions lounging on the front steps, looking as if they've been in some sort of knockdown, drag-out, rough and tumble bar fight like a couple of desperados from the old Wild West. Or, to be more specific, the old wild Pacific Northwest, in keeping with our selection for today's Pulitzer Who book. And which is also why I've gotten up into my best saloon girl outfit. But I'm not exactly sure how many desperados will be sipping on Starlight martinis. But let's hope a couple of guys to come down from Brokeback Mountain to have a sip or two while we talk about the 1936 winner of the Pulitzer Prize for the novel Honey in the Horn by H.L. Davis, which was in keeping with my Pulitzer Who selections, completely unfamiliar to me before now. And as usual, before we get into talking about the book itself, let's consider a few of the other books that were published in 1935 that did not make the selection for the Pulitzer Prize. And those would be Aller Retour by Henry Miller, Butterfield 8 by John O'Hara, The Circus of Dr. Lau by Charles G. Finney, which is, according to Wikipedia, the winner of the first National Book Award, Come and Get It by Edna Ferber, A House Divides, or A House Divided maybe, by Pearl S. Buck, It Can't Happen Here by Sinclair Lewis, Judgment Day by James T. Farrow, which is the third and final of the Studs Lonigan series, Lucy Gayheart by Willa Cather, Pylon by William Faulkner, Somebody in Boots, which is Nelson Algren's debut novel, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? By Horace McCoy, Tortilla Flat by John Steinbeck. But all of these above, I have to say, I have heard of either the writers or the books themselves. And if I were to find that list, I would choose one of those. But I would never have chosen H.L. Davis, the actual winner of the 1936 Pulitzer Prize for the novel, because I had never heard of him or the book before in my life. So, Kirkus Reviews said this of Honey in the Horn. Stark Americana, the picture of the shifting hordes of those who helped sow the seeds of modern Oregon in the 75 years between its opening and the coming of the railroads. The stage props are all there. The skeletons of drama are boldly drawn. There is a certain vitality in the telling, but somehow the characters do not quite come to life, and thereby it just misses being a big book. Watch it, however, it may take hold. And take hold it did indeed do. It won the Harper Novel Prize, which was a prize of $10,000, which was one of the most lucrative prizes for literature at the time, and then it won the Pulitzer Prize for the novel. Pretty good at taking hold, I would say. Although the reviews ranged from brilliant to scorching, and I land, I'll tell you right now, somewhere in the cool middle on all of that. First, a little bit about the writer, H.L. Davis. He was born October 18th, 1894, and he lived until October 31st, 1960. He was born in Nonpareil, Oregon, and his family moved around Oregon a lot, which helped him in creating the peripatetic wandering characters that are in Honey in the Horn. He read widely. He read widely. He may have read wildly too. We'll never know. He read widely, but he never graduated from college. He never even went to college. And he worked various jobs such as hop picker, whatever that is, shepherd, surveyor, and timekeeper for a railroad. And he's the only Oregonian to have won a Pulitzer Prize. So the story centers around a broken up family of pioneers who have settled in southern Oregon. The head of the family is Preston Shively, or Shively, Shively, Preston Shively, let's say, who runs a toll bridge, an apple orchard, and a sheep farm. Preston has run off his two no-account sons. He's run them off his land and banished them forever. One of these sons, by the way, murders the other later on. But Preston, after his sons are gone, spends most of his time writing an interminable history of the history of Oregon and adopting orphans to work on his farm. And one of these orphans is 16-year-old Clay Calvert, who becomes the main character of Honey in the Horn. Now, the oldest Shively boy who was run off and who murdered his brother is Wade Shively, and he has been imprisoned for murder and theft. And at the beginning of the book, the sheriff comes around to kind of rope Clay into a journey in order to travel to the jail where Wade Shively is being held to see if they can figure out where the money that he took from the theft that he committed, where he has hidden it. And Uncle Preston is what Clay calls Preston Shively. Uncle Preston concocts a plan for this journey for Clay. Clay doesn't want to go, but he gets roped into it. And Preston's plan is to give Clay a gun that he can slip to Wade Shively under the guise of helping him escape from jail. But in fact, Preston hates his son, so he has rigged the gun so that it will backfire on whoever shoots it and kill the shooter. So it turns out, though, that the gun does not backfire, but Preston's plan to kill his own son does. Instead of shooting the gun, Wade Shively just wields it as a threat and thereby escapes from jail unharmed. But now, Clay has helped a criminal escape from jail, and he must flee. Thus, we get the rest of the book. Clay's witty and, well, if sometimes laboriously described, travels through Oregon, where he meets various types of people who are described in the Kirkus Reviews as a ragtag crew of hop pickers, fruit gatherers, horse traders, harvesters, farm hands, itinerant traders, colonists moving to greener pastures, land sharks, optimists, and pessimists. A motley crew vividly presented. And I must agree, they are a motley crew and they are vividly presented. So Clay must wander. And the rest of the novel is kind of a travelogue of sorts. It's funny and brutal and wry, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's a little bit brutal too. And it's extensively detailed. It's detailed about the landscape, it's detailed about the people, it's detailed about the work that people do. If there's a hay baling machine anywhere to be found, then H.L. Davis will spend 4 to 10 pages telling exactly how a hay baling machine works, who works it, the story behind the people who work it, and the most memorable moments of hay baling history in general before he gets on with the rest of the story. But eventually he does get on with the rest of the story. Unlike the bête noir of this series, Lamb in His Bosom, an earlier novel that won the Pulitzer Prize that should be buried and forgotten forever, unlike that book, Lamb in His Bosom, the extensive descriptions in Honey in the Horn add flavor and color to the story. And although the extensive digressions do meander away from the story for long periods of times, I did find them interesting. An itinerant character who goes out to see the world, or the world of Oregon at least, goes out and sees the wonders and the horrors and describes these, and these descriptions and digressions become a part of the story. So I didn't have as much of a problem with them. Occasionally, I did become impatient, but then Clay's travelogue starts up again, and when it did, I would happily follow. Add to this a love story. A love story between Clay and a horse trader's daughter named Luce, Luce. And her name is described as in this section on page, I think, 119. Her name, she told him, was not Lucy, as he had thought, but Luz, Luz, which is the Mexican word for light. So Clay and Lucy are tough and reticent. They have good times and they have bad times. And then, 3/4 of the way through the novel, they are separated. And the rest of the novel, the rest of the tension, involves me at least wondering if they will get together and reunite, and if so, how. So, what, you may ask, Tootight Lautrec, Master Mistress of Glitterature Alley, what kept you reading and what stopped you reading? Well, the long descriptions with lots of exposition, and I will just tell you that, like, when you have page after page after page that looks like this for almost 400 pages, close type, small print, very little dialogue, it can wear you down. I'm just saying. A book of about 400 pages felt like 800 pages. And to its benefit, though, it was funny and interesting, so I kept going, but it wasn't a pure joy. Sometimes I did get tired of it and set it aside, and it took me a long time to read, but I was satisfied enough with it that when I did pick it back up, I was not sorry, necessarily. Qualms. Do I have qualms? I have qualms. It's a little too discursive. I didn't hate it as some critics have, but it did meander, for sure. Do I recommend? Sure. If you're up for a long, wandering read, then this book is for you. It does fit into the Western genre, but I think at a much higher level than what a normal Western might be. So it might be something that you might read during Westerns Month, as Roy from Roy Reads Anything and Greg at Ghost Readers in the Sky have hosted this Westerns Month. I think it's called June on the Range. And so if you like this kind of Western, it might be for you. It might be quite interesting, I think. Roy and Greg were accompanied by many, many others who hosted it. So I will link put a link below for Roy's announcement of June on the Range, so that you can see all those other people who participated in that. And then next year, maybe you can participate in it too. And maybe you can suggest Honey in the Horn to read there. And then we can see what their wranglers are getting up to on the range. So, I do have to say, though, if you are impatient and you want story, well, perhaps you can meander past this in the bookstore if you see it, or in your local library, and maybe choose something else. But I do give Honey in the Horn a resounding, it's good. But if you're looking for wonder, I think you know where to find it. It's all around you. Pay attention. I am Tootight Lautrec. Until we meet again, here's to you.